I'm Ann Carrico from Annie and Everything, and we're here today to look at ChemExplained. It's a chemistry curriculum that I think is undersung in the homeschool science world, and I think you'll hear and find out for yourself why in this video. Let's get started. Everybody has heard about Apologia. Everybody talks about Apologia. That is probably the most familiar science curriculum out there. But it is textbook based. And sometimes that can be an issue, especially when you are talking about chemistry, which is a very math focused course. Just as an aside, ChemExplained says it's best for your kid to have completed Algebra 1 before starting chemistry, and I'm in full agreement with that. As a textbook, Apologia can only do so much towards explaining things mathematically. They can't show you step by step. Your kid has to try to figure out from reading alone how to do the math that is contained in the study of chemistry. And this can be a problem for many, many kids. And so ChemExplained is a video-based course. And here's the thing, the videos aren't long, boring, videos. The videos are all short, 12 to 13 minutes per video, which gives your kid enough time to learn something significant, but not enough time to zone out, get frustrated, be incredibly bored, feel like it's a waste of time. So that is one of the huge differences between ChemExplained and most of the other options out there, is that ChemExplained is a video course taught by an actual teacher. It's not just, graphics hopping around on a screen or some kind of whiteboard situation. It is taught by a real teacher, Mr. Riz, who has been teaching chemistry for over 40 years and has earned many awards doing so. So this guy knows how to explain chemistry. He knows how to help kids understand chemistry. He is the one who is teaching these videos. So the course is based on videos, and there are 20 chapters, and there are a gazillion videos, because not only are there videos for the lessons, there are also videos that help explain the tests, and there are videos that for the labs. There's lots of videos, all of them very helpful, very much of a resource to help your kid and you understand this course better. There are also note sheets. Let me show you what a note sheet looks like. Oh, and before I forget, because I didn't announce this till the end last night, and I want to be sure to announce it at the beginning now. You can get the entire first chapter absolutely free if you go to free trial in the tab, or the free trial tab on the menu at the ChemExplained website. How do you get to the website? Super easy, chemexplained.com. So if you go there and click on free trial, you will have to go through the shopping cart to get the entire chapter 1, but it's not going to be any charge. It's just the way they have to do that to deliver that to you. There are also clicks there if you just want to see a couple sample videos. You can see those without having to go through the shopping cart. But if you want to see what I'm about to show you up close and personal, then definitely get that free trial of all of chapter 1. So every chapter comes with the lesson videos, and in conjunction with the videos are these notes. Look at that. Your teen has this in front of them while they are watching the video, and as they watch, they are filling in all of these lovely blanks. That is called note-taking. Now, granted, this is pretty preliminary note-taking, but it is still the type of thing that will build towards the ability to take notes. And so your kid is being forced to pay attention to the video, not zone out, not just check the box. They need to fill in these blanks as they watch the video. That helps them to learn. Here's something you may or may not know. The more senses that you can take information in with, the better you will remember it. So reading a textbook is one sense. We've got hearing, taste, smell, eyesight, vision, right? There's 5 of them. Touch, right? So reading a textbook is one of those 5. It is using your eyes to read. Watching a video however, is not only watching, it is also hearing. So that's 2 senses. But then when you add the note taking by filling in these blanks, that's a 3rd sense. Now we're getting the sense of touch in there as well, movement. And so that's going to make your kid or help your kid to retain this information better than merely reading a textbook. That is one of the great things about ChemExplained. So they're going to do the video, they're going to watch the video and take the notes, and then every couple of days there's a worksheet to fill out. Now the worksheets are based on the notes. In other words, here's a sample of a worksheet. This is the 3rd worksheet. Look at how there are some short answer questions. You can't find the answers to the worksheet necessarily always on the worksheet. Now, granted, here they're asking for whether that's a qualitative or a quantitative piece of data, so it's going to be a 50-50 chance. But those top ones, they're going to have to write that down out of their little brain. Now, they are encouraged to do this worksheet as much as possible without any help from the notes. But if they do need help from the notes, they do have the option to use it, and that's fine. Guess what? This is another way to go through the material. Oh, and let me back up for a minute. When it comes to the notes, who's going to correct those? When you get the teacher's guide, and I'm sorry, my light seems to change depending upon where I put this piece of paper. That's kind of exciting. When they finish the note taking after the video, who's going to check to make sure they've got the right word in the blanks? Is that going to be you? It could be, but that's going to be an awful lot of work on a day-to-day basis, especially. I'm going to say no. Don't you do that. Make your child, your teenager, your chemistry student correct the notes to make sure they got the right answers in there. Now, who's going through the material again another time, and this time in a new way? Yes, give them that teacher's guide. And in fact, all of the answers, you have 2 sections on the website. There's a student section and a teacher section. The teacher section has all of the guides and answers for everything, including the notes and what words belong in these blanks. If you allow your student to check their note-taking, that's another time through the material, just another chance for them to learn it and retain it even better. This doesn't have to be a grade. We don't need to give a grade on the daily work of taking the notes. Just let that be an activity that doesn't get graded, because they're still learning. When they're taking the information in and figuring out what to put on this page, that's not a completed set of learning. They're not proving to you that they know anything. They're just taking notes. Don't make a grade out of note taking. Let them take the notes, let them check to make sure they filled out those notes correctly. And that is all a learning exercise for them. And then when it comes to the worksheet, guess what? You could let them grade the worksheet as well. Or you could grade the worksheet. I don't know if you've heard me say this before. I am a huge proponent of independent learning in high school, because that's what's going to happen in college. ChemExplained is a great course to help develop this skill, where they're watching the videos, they're filling out the notes, they're checking the notes, and now they're doing the worksheet and checking the worksheet all on their own. This is all learning. This is all learning. And as they are learning, they can be doing that on their own. Now, the worksheet does have a number of points that are, see that 23 down there? I'm moving my finger in the, do you know how hard it is to get your finger going in the right direction when you're looking at yourself on a video? Anyway, so this particular worksheet is worth 23 points. So there are points on the worksheets, and you could give grades for these worksheets, and that is fine if you choose to do that. But I would recommend that you might let the kid grade these for themselves and then go back and figure out why they got wrong what they got wrong. So far in the chapter, we've had a video, we've had note-taking during the video, and we've seen some worksheets. What else comes in the chapter? Guess what? A test at the end of each chapter. Here is the first page of the first chapter test. In this case, we're going over a bunch of vocabulary. And that actually goes on to the second page. And then we've got some true and false going on. See that? I want to point out again we've got points at the bottom of the page. This tells you how many points are on this page. And then page 2 has 29 points. See that? Okay, so the test now, that is something that you as the teacher, the supervising teacher, should grade. I don't use that should word, lightly, as you know. I'm going to say, though, that there comes a point where you do have to be involved, even in independent learning, and that would be in grading the chapter tests. This is where your student is showing a body of already learning. This is where they have studied before they are taking this test, and they are not referring back to notes or worksheets or what have you to take this test. This is where you step in and do the grading. You can certainly let them go and redo whatever they got wrong and get some credit back. But I would highly recommend that you as the supervisor do the grading of this. It's one way to keep tabs on how your kid is doing, for one thing. And yeah, I guess that's my main point there, is it's a way to keep tabs on what's going on. So grade that, and grade it as quickly as you can after they finish. That's a whole nother topic, is staying on top of grading and paperwork. And I get it, trust me. But when we grade things as soon as we can after the student has finished them, then they get the feedback they need to move forward. So chapter test comes with each chapter. And then also, after the chapter test, we have a lab experiment. Here is lab experiment number 1, measuring liquid volume. You can see we got the safety precautions, we got objectives, we got equipment, we got procedure, and we have a place to record data. And then there are some calculations, and then looky here, there are questions and conclusions. So the neat thing about the labs that ChemExplained has is that many of them are super duper possible to do on your own, or to do in actuality in the home situation. As far as getting the equipment required, they have an entire master equipment and supplies list, so you can order what you need. A lot of us have used Home Science Tools as a place to get equipment for science. And so you can get all that you need and do the experiments at home. Here's another option, though. This is, again, different than a lot of options out there, other curriculum options out there. With ChemExplained, you can either do the experiment on your own, or, and maybe I should say or, you can watch Mr. Riz do the experiment and follow along, fill out the calculations, fill out the questions and the conclusions, but be watching Mr. Riz do the experiment instead of having to do it in your own home. And you can decide for yourself which ones are going to be best for your kid to actually do versus which ones are going to be best to watch Mr. Riz do. You can have your kid watch all of them if you want, or you can pick and choose which ones the supplies are going to be easiest to get for and do some of them at home. I do recommend doing some of them at home. There's nothing quite like actually doing an experiment for a kid. It really does bring that hands-on, let's see what's going to happen, excitement to learning. But it's not absolutely necessary, and I love that they give that flexibility about that. Just a side note here, I'm going to get a little off topic as far as ChemExplained is concerned, but I want to talk about science labs in general. Be aware that most colleges do not require every single science that your kid takes in high school to be a lab science. Now, you may want them to have them all be lab sciences just for the experience, and that is totally fine, but most colleges don't require that. Many colleges only require one lab science. And for me, chemistry was always the one that I had my kids do. I was not about to dissect animals in biology. And none of my kids only one of my kids got as far as physics, and she didn't do experiments there. Mostly everybody did chemistry for their lab because it was the easiest one to get the supplies for and do. And so in this case, you have the option of doing that. Again, either in person, if you will, or by watching Mr. Riz. Here's something that I already know I've forgotten to say that I really want to say, and you might have already kind of gathered this, but maybe not in this exact way. There are lots of curriculum options out there that we are very familiar with. I've mentioned Apologia for Science. Here's one for math that everybody is super familiar with, and that is Mr. D. And everybody loves Mr. D. And he provides live courses, sure, but he also provides self-paced videos that your kid can follow. And then there's the things to print out and the tests and quizzes to take, right? Guess what? Mr. Riz is the Mr. D of chemistry. That is the type of course that this is. We've got the video-based, self-paced lessons. You can start them at any point of the year that you want to. Your kid can schedule them anytime during the day. They don't have to show up for a live class at a particular time each week. This is purely self-paced in the sense that you don't have to follow a particular schedule or calendar. They do have one, and I'll show you that in a minute, but you don't have to follow that. You can adjust as needed. And it's video-based, and everything that you need is supplied for you except the actual laboratory equipment. So when you think about it that way, if you're looking for somebody for science like Mr. D is for math, then Mr. Riz is who you want to look at. Now, you've noticed that I've showed you all these printed materials, and yes, there's going to be a lot of printing involved, so be sure that you keep your toner stocked. But that's okay. I actually like that. I like a course that's not 100% online. Yes, your kid will be watching the videos, but that's essentially the only part that's online. The rest is paper and pencil. And I like that mix so that we're not stuck at the computer all day long. I love that. I think that's a benefit. Okay, so all of this with each chapter gives your kid the chance to practice, go over the material, learn the material, practice the material, understand the material. Just in order to keep things organized and straight, they do have a checklist. This is all the things that are supposed to happen throughout the entire course. This is just one page of the checklist so that your kid can check them off in order and go through them. They also, though, do provide a calendar. This tells you, if over a 36-week year, this tells you what to do each and every day. And so if you're looking for something that is basically lesson plans, that's what that calendar is. Now, you might have noticed on here, it says traditional chemistry calendar. Here's another way that ChemExplained is different than any other type of chemistry course that I'm aware of. They offer different levels of taking their course. So if you are looking for an honors chemistry course, look no farther. Farther? Which one is it? Look no further, I think, than ChemExplained. If you do every single thing, all 20 chapters, every single activity, every single thing in the course, that is considered an honors level course. And I know we talk about how honors doesn't really have a designation per se. There's no standard about the word honors. But guess what? Mr. Riz has been teaching for over 40 years. And so I think he, better than many of us, has an understanding of what constitutes an honors course. And so they have set ChemExplained up that if you do everything, you can call it an honors course. Then there's the traditional course. This is going to be most of the students out there. When you're doing the traditional level, there are some modifications involved. You're going to cover most of the material, but there are ways to modify it so that it's not such a heavy burden. There's not quite as much to get done as if you were attempting the honors calendar. And then there's a third option, and this one is beautiful for those who need that science credit, but their kids are needing more help. That is what they call the foundational level. And the foundational level involves going through chapters 1 through 12 and then a little bit more. And then your kid can earn a credit for chemistry. Does that not take a load off your mind? So many people need those science credits, and yet they don't know where to get them because their kid is not ready for a traditional chemistry course. So Mr. Riz provides one that he calls foundational, and that is going to be the one that over the 36 weeks is not going to be nearly as large of a challenge. It's going to be something that your kid will be able to do and feel successful with. And I like that a lot. I'm looking at my notes to see if I've missed anything. Oh yeah, I did forget to say one thing, and that is this, and many of you might be interested to hear this. ChemExplained is neutral when it comes to faith-based versus secular. They are not espousing either one. They're just presenting the information. So there's no agenda going on with ChemExplained. They're not trying to convince the student of one side or the other. They're holding a neutral line on that issue, which means that if you are not looking for a specifically faith-based course, ChemExplained is the one for you. If you're not looking for a course that is anti-faith, then ChemExplained is also the one for you. It's not going to present an opinion or an agenda. It's just going to present the information so that your kid can take a chemistry course. And that is something to take note of too. Apologia, as we keep bringing up, is very faith-based. And that's great for a lot of people. But if you don't want that, or that's not that important to you per se, you just want to get chemistry, then ChemExplained is that option for you. So let me remind you that you can go to the ChemExplained website, which is chemexplained.com, and you can get a free trial by clicking on the free trial tab on the menu. Actually, let's do a screencast of that. Let's do a quick screencast and look through the website at all of the different things that I'm going to suggest that you look at. Let's do that right now. And then we'll come back and finish up. Okay, and here is the beauty of recording this video not live because now I can show you a screencast of the ChemExplained website and give you a behind the scenes look of what it's like when you are actually logged in. Now, this menu here in the black is different than the menu when you are logged out. And I'm going to show you some of the things that I want you to see before purchasing if you haven't made up your mind already, after I show you some of the things inside. So we are right now at the student resources. If you have a question, you can contact Mr. Riz through their contact form. I love that. He also, I scrolled down really fast because I just noticed he provided his phone number on there to contact him that way. So I'm going to black that out. But I love how he makes himself available to contact at any time. Here's also the class policy. Here are the lab resources. All of that is there. Here's your chapter 1 notes and worksheets, lessons, in other words, the access to the videos. They also provide low resolution videos. I think that's for when your internet is bad. So I could probably use those pretty well. And you can see that we're just cruising through all the things that are necessary for each chapter right here. The teacher portion is here. Again, the teacher can also contact Mr. Riz. We have the class policy and the calendars. We have the lab resources. We also have now under chapter 1, we have the answer keys. And we have an explanation video for the chapter test, which also comes in a low res for chapter 1, but apparently not for every chapter, and that's fine too. But this is super helpful. If your kid gets something wrong on the test, why? Take a look at the chapter test explanation video. Who else provides something like that? So as you see, everything that you need is provided for this course. There's also the checklist. I already showed you that. There's some FAQs, an outline, the calendars. Let's just click on there. That's going to show you that we have got the honors calendar, the traditional calendar, and the foundational students calendar. And there is some description there as far as who is best for which level. Those answers can also be found, I'm pretty sure, outside of being logged in. I just logged out. I'm going to log out. And here's what you see when you are logged out in this menu. And there's a couple places I want to send you. Definitely go to the free trial. That's the one that you can get all of chapter 1 for free. Go there. Here's another thing I want to point you to. YCE. Let's click on that so I can show it to you. Here are 12 reasons why ChemExplained is a great chemistry choice. If I have not made that clear up till now, here's the neat thing. Each one of these are a button, so you can click on each one of these and get a more full explanation. And the fact that ChemExplained has a teacher, and not to mention an acclaimed award-winning teacher, this is huge because it can be explained, not just taught, but actually explained so that your kid can actually understand. Very important. So those are the things I would have you look at. Here's actually a tab for the calendars, even when you're logged out. So that is helpful. And here again is the same explanation about who's going to fit in each category so that you can make that decision before purchase. Love that. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you on the website. And so there you have it. Everything you wanted to know about ChemExplained. Hopefully that has given you good reason to purchase this curriculum, or at least to look at it more closely. I honestly feel like this is an unsung, undersung option for chemistry that not enough people know about. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Riz, I don't honestly know how to pronounce their last name. Not even going to try it. They have been to, homeschool conventions and chatted with people. And if you are one of the people who has had the good fortune to chat with them, they are super friendly, just lovely, lovely people. And they've created a quality product here. And they are also incredibly approachable. As you saw in that screencast, Mr. Riz actually gives his phone number to students so they can contact him about the course. I don't know of anybody else who is that approachable and that helpful. And that is amazing. He may decide not to do that anymore. I don't know. But the fact that he is willing to do that shows that he has a heart to help his students no matter what it takes. And I love that. And I think you'll see in the videos as well his personality come through. Just charming, likable, approachable, not intimidating. All of the things that we want in a teacher for our kids, especially somebody that we are paying to teach our kids. And I think that you will enjoy the purchase of ChemExplained and think that that was a worthwhile, good choice for any teen. That's just my 2 cents. Okay, so I'm going to let you go with that. Definitely go to the ChemExplained website, chemexplained.com, and take a look around for yourself. See you next time.